welding. It's the backbone of our infrastructure. Bridges, buildings, pipelines, you name it, welding's probably involved. But with all that raw power, there's inherent danger. We're talking sparks, heat, fumes, a whole cocktail of hazards. That's why safety isn't just a good idea in welding. It's the law. We need these standards because they provide a clear roadmap for safe welding practices. One of the most recognized sets of guidelines in the welding world is ANSI Z49.1-2021. It's a comprehensive standard that covers everything from safety training to ventilation. Think of ANSI Z49.1-2021 as a blueprint for a safer weld. It lays out specific safety protocols designed to minimize risks and prevent accidents. This standard is all about keeping welders safe and sound. So, what's the big deal about ANSI Z49.1-2021? Well, it's the welding safety gold standard. This document is chock full of practical advice covering everything from setting up your workspace to handling emergencies. We're talking about clear-cut instructions on using welding equipment, storing materials safely, and even disposing of hazardous waste. The standard stresses the importance of a safe work environment for everyone on a job site. This standard is a team effort, folks, because safety is everyone's responsibility. Everyone involved in welding operations, from trainees to seasoned pros, needs to understand the risks and how to mitigate them. This training ain't a one-time thing either. Let's talk about personal protective equipment, or PPE. ANSI Z49.1-2021 is crystal clear. Head-to-toe protection is non-negotiable. This ain't about looking tough, it's about preventing serious injuries. Think of it like suiting up for battle, because in a way you are. Welding throws sparks, spits molten metal, and emits harmful radiation. A good welding helmet is your best friend. Heavy-duty welding gloves are a must-have. A flame-resistant jacket and pants are essential for protecting your skin from burns. And don't forget about your feet. Steel-toed boots are crucial for protecting your toes from dropped objects. Remember, safety gear isn't optional. Section 3. Shields up, protecting your eyes and skin. Welding produces ultraviolet or UV radiation, which is invisible to the naked eye but can cause serious eye damage. That's why your welding helmet is non-negotiable. The lens in your helmet isn't just any old tinted glass, it's specially designed to filter out those harmful UV rays. Safety glasses with side shields are crucial. Even under the helmet, welding produces intense heat that can cause severe burns. That's where your flame-resistant clothing comes in. Long sleeves, long pants, and even a welding cap are essential. Stick to natural materials like leather or cotton. Section 4. A breath of fresh air, ventilation and fume control. Welding fumes are no joke. They contain all sorts of nasty stuff that you don't want in your lungs. Breathing in these fumes can cause a range of health problems. That's where proper ventilation comes in. ANSI Z49.1-2021 is very specific about ventilation requirements. It recommends a combination of general ventilation and local exhaust ventilation. Remember, breathing clean air is just as important as wearing your safety gear. Section 1. The right gear for the job. ANSI Z49.1-2021 doesn't mess around when it comes to PPE. It outlines specific requirements for everything from helmets to boots. The right gear depends on the type of welding you're doing, the metals involved, and the environment you're working in. All PPE needs to meet certain safety standards. Look for labels from organizations like ANSI or NIOSH. Your health is worth the investment. Remember, wearing the right gear isn't just about following the rules. It's about going home safe every night. Make sure your helmet fits snugly, your gloves allow for dexterity, and your clothing doesn't restrict your movement. Section 2. Helmet hair don't care head and face protection. Let's start at the top, your head. Your welding helmet is your best friend in the shop. ANSI Z49.1-2021 recommends helmets with auto-darkening lenses. These high-tech wonders automatically adjust their shade based on the intensity of the welding arc. It shields your entire face from sparks, splatter, and heat. Look for helmets with adjustable headgear for a comfortable and secure fit. Section 3. Guarding your grippers, hand and arm safety. Welding gloves are non-negotiable, folks. They protect your hands from burns, cuts, and punctures from those pesky sparks and sharp metal edges. ANSI Z49.1-2021 recommends heavy-duty leather gloves that extend past your wrists. Look for gloves with reinforced palms and seams for added durability. For added protection, consider using welding sleeves. Remember, welding can be a messy business, and it's better to be overprotected than underprotected. Section 4. Body armor for welders, protecting your core. Welding isn't just about protecting your extremities. Your torso needs love too. That's where flame-resistant clothing comes in. ANSI Z49.1-2021 stresses the importance of covering up. Look for clothing that fits close to your body without restricting movement. For added protection, consider investing in a welding jacket or apron. Remember, it's all about layers, folks. Section 5. Footnotes. The importance of proper footwear. Welding shops are notorious for dropped tools, hot metal, and sharp edges. That's why ANSI Z49.1-2021 requires sturdy closed-toe footwear with good ankle support. Steel-toe boots are the gold standard in welding safety. Look for boots with slip-resistant soles to prevent slips and falls. Leather boots are a popular choice for welders, as they offer good heat resistance and durability. Remember, your feet carry you through every job, so treat them right. Section 1. Tools of the trade, keeping your equipment in tip-top shape. Now let's talk about your other best friend in the shop, your welding equipment. ANSI Z49.1-2021 is all about preventive maintenance, folks. Regular inspections are key. Before you even strike an arc, give your equipment a once-over. Look for frayed cables, cracked hoses, loose connections, and any other signs of wear and tear. If you spot something that looks iffy, don't try to jerry-rig it. A clean shop is a safe shop, and that includes your equipment. Section 2. Cable Management 101. Avoiding a tangled mess. Welding cables are like the veins and arteries of your welding setup, but tangled, damaged, or improperly routed cables can be a recipe for disaster. ANSI Z49.1-2021 stresses the importance of proper cable management. Inspect your cables regularly for damage. Tangled cables are tripping hazards and can also get caught in moving machinery. Use cable organizers, ties, or even just some strategically placed hooks to keep your cables neat and tidy. Remember, a little cable management goes a long way in preventing accidents. Section 3. Electrode expertise, selecting and storing for safety. Electrodes, those metal rods that melt to form the weld, might seem pretty straightforward, but improper handling and storage can turn these essential consumables into safety hazards. ANSI Z49.1-2021 provides guidelines for electrode selection and storage. Choose the right electrode for the job. Store electrodes in a dry, climate-controlled environment, preferably in a dedicated electrode oven. Keep different types of electrodes separated and clearly labeled to avoid confusion. Section 4. Gas guzzlers. Handling compressed gases with care. Many welding processes rely on compressed gases like argon or carbon dioxide for shielding the weld or as part of the welding arc. But these gases, while essential, can also be hazardous if not handled properly. ANSI Z49.1-2021 has a lot to say about gas safety. Treat every gas cylinder as if it's full and under pressure. Always secure cylinders upright using chains or straps to prevent them from tipping over. Always use the correct regulators and hoses for the type of gas you're using, and inspect them regularly for leaks. Section 5. Fire in the hole, fire prevention and emergency response. Welding and fire go together like peanut butter and jelly, but unlike that delicious combination, this one's a recipe for disaster if you're not careful. ANSI Z49.1-2021 dedicates a whole section to fire prevention and emergency response, and for good reason. First off, know your surroundings. Before you strike an arc, identify potential fire hazards in your work area. Look for flammable materials like wood, paper, solvents, or even oily rags. Remove these hazards if possible, or protect them with fire-resistant blankets or shields. Keep a fire extinguisher rated for Class A, ordinary combustibles, and Class B, flammable liquids, fires readily accessible, and know how to use it. Next, have a plan. Make sure everyone in the work area knows the evacuation routes and the procedures for reporting a fire or other emergency. Practice fire drills regularly so everyone knows what to do if the alarm bells start ringing. Remember, a few minutes of preparation can save lives and property. The bridge that couldn't, a cautionary tale. Let's talk about a bridge. Not just any bridge, but one that made headlines for all the wrong reasons. This bridge, a vital artery for commuters, was undergoing a major renovation. Welders were brought in to reinforce its steel skeleton, a job that demanded precision, skill, and unwavering adherence to safety protocols. But somewhere along the line, something went terribly wrong. It started subtly, a seemingly insignificant lapse in judgment. A welding cable, frayed but still functional, was left lying across a walkway. A worker, his mind preoccupied with the task at hand, didn't see the hazard. He tripped, sending sparks flying towards a pile of oily rags that should have been disposed of properly. The result was a flash fire, a sudden inferno that engulfed the bridge's underbelly. The flames spread quickly, fueled by flammable materials that shouldn't have been anywhere near the welding operation. Panic ensued as workers, some with inadequate fire safety training, scrambled for exits. The bridge, already structurally compromised by the renovation work, couldn't withstand the intense heat. It buckled, sending sections crashing into the river below. The aftermath was devastating. Injuries, some life-altering, served as a stark reminder of the unforgiving nature of welding hazards. The bridge, once a symbol of progress and connection, lay in ruins, a testament to the catastrophic consequences of neglecting safety protocols. The incident became a textbook example of how a chain reaction of seemingly small oversights can lead to a large-scale disaster. When sparks fly, but not the good kind, a workshop inferno. Imagine a bustling welding workshop, a hive of activity where skilled hands transform metal into works of art and industry. The air hums with the buzz of welding machines, the clang of hammers, and the hiss of compressed gases. But on this particular day, a sense of normalcy was shattered by a series of events that turned the workshop into a scene of chaos. It began with a faulty electrical connection in a welding machine, a problem that had been noticed, but dismissed as a minor inconvenience. The machine, overworked and overdue for maintenance, sputtered and sparked, a warning sign that went unheeded. A stray spark landed on a nearby workbench, igniting a pile of sawdust and wood scraps that should have been swept up and disposed of properly. The fire, small at first, quickly grew, fueled by flammable materials and fanned by the drafts from the workshop's ventilation system. Panic gripped the workers, some of whom froze in fear, while others scrambled for fire extinguishers that were either expired or had not been properly maintained. The flames spread rapidly, engulfing welding curtains, gas cylinders, and other flammable materials. The workshop, once a place of creation, was consumed by a raging inferno. The fire department arrived quickly but struggled to contain the blaze, hampered by the lack of adequate fire suppression systems and the presence of hazardous materials. The workshop and its contents, including valuable tools and unfinished projects, were reduced to ashes. The incident served as a harsh reminder of the importance of proactive fire prevention measures, proper equipment maintenance, and regular fire safety training. The workshop owner, faced with the daunting task of rebuilding and the weight of responsibility for the safety of his employees, vowed to make safety his top priority. Blinded by the light, the price of neglecting eye protection. The human eye is incredibly vulnerable, especially in a welding shop. This is about a seasoned welder who neglected eye protection. He took pride in his work but became complacent. One day he skipped his safety glasses. A burst of light caused searing pain. He experienced arc eye, a painful condition. His vision blurred, forcing him to take time off. He vowed to never neglect eye protection again, investing in new, high-quality safety gear. They say an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and nowhere is this truer than in the realm of welding equipment. This is the story of two welding machines, identical twins purchased on the same day, whose fates diverged due to vastly different approaches to maintenance. Machine A, the responsible one, was treated with respect from day one. Its owner, a stickler for details, kept it clean, regularly blowing out dust and debris. He inspected its cables and connections before each use, replacing worn parts promptly. He followed the manufacturer's maintenance schedule diligently, lubricating moving parts and ensuring proper ventilation. Machine B, on the other hand, lived a life of neglect. Its owner, always in a hurry, viewed maintenance as an unnecessary chore. He ignored the growing layer of grime that coated its surface, the frayed cables held together with electrical tape, and the warning lights that flickered on its control panel. He pushed it hard, running it at maximum capacity for hours on end. As the years passed, Machine A continued to hum along, a model of reliability and efficiency. Its welds were clean and consistent, its performance predictable. Machine B, however, began to show its age. Its welds became erratic, its arc unstable. It overheated frequently, tripping circuit breakers and causing delays. One day, Machine B finally gave up the ghost. With a loud bang and a shower of sparks, its overworked internal components failed catastrophically. It was beyond repair, a costly casualty of neglect. Machine A, meanwhile, continued to soldier on, a testament to the power of preventive maintenance. The lesson was clear. Investing time and effort in equipment maintenance is not just about extending the life of your tools, it's about ensuring your safety and the quality of your work. Welding fumes, a cocktail of invisible gases and fine particles, often get overlooked amidst the more obvious hazards of sparks, heat, and heavy machinery. This is the story of two welders, working side by side, whose different approaches to ventilation would have a profound impact on their long-term health. Welder A prioritized safety, ensuring proper ventilation and using a respirator. Welder B ignored ventilation, dismissing safety measures. Years later, Welder B developed occupational asthma, while Welder A remained healthy. The lesson is clear: respect the invisible hazards of welding fumes. We've covered a lot of ground here, folks. We've talked about the importance of ANSI Z49.1-2021, the welding safety Bible that's there to keep you out of harm's way. We've gone over the gear, the helmets, gloves, jackets, and boots that are your armor in the welding arena. And we've talked about the respect your equipment deserves, the kind of care that keeps it running smooth and safe. But it all boils down to one simple mantra: safety first, safety always. This ain't just a catchy slogan to slap on a hard hat, it's a way of life, a mindset that needs to be ingrained in every welder, from the greenest apprentice to the most seasoned pro. It's about taking responsibility for your own well-being and the safety of those around you. Remember, welding is a skill, a craft, an art form even. But it's also inherently dangerous if you don't treat it with the respect it deserves. Every time you strike an arc, you're dealing with forces of nature, heat, electricity, molten metal that can hurt you bad if you're not careful. So what does it mean to live by the safety first mantra? It means never cutting corners, never taking shortcuts, and never letting complacency creep in. It means speaking up when you see something unsafe, whether it's a frayed cable, a missing fire extinguisher, or a colleague not wearing their PPE. It means staying up to date on the latest safety standards, attending training sessions, and reading those safety manuals that might seem like a bore, but could save your life one day. And it means looking out for each other, because a safe welding shop is a team effort. The world needs skilled welders. We need folks who can build and repair the bridges, buildings, pipelines, and machines that keep our society running, but we need those welders to go home safe and sound at the end of the day. So, let's make a pact. Right here, right now, let's make safety non-negotiable, an integral part of every weld we make. Let's forge a safer future, one weld at a time, because when it comes to safety, there's no room for compromise.